Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Michael Masterman, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the newly listed Saffron Energy plc. How are you today?
I'm great, Stephen. It's great to see Saffron Energy launch so strongly on the London Stock Exchange.
Indeed. Obviously, you've only been listed for a few hours, but already it seems that the market has shown the potential and the way forward. Just to touch on that, obviously the company was previously called Po Valley Energy, and I see obviously from your board of directors that you've got some sort of very influential people that used to be part of that company. So could you give us a brief outline about the team you've got in place for Saffron Energy and what the sort of prospects near term are for the company?
Well, look, we've got to look firstly, and it really is a critical part of the success of any company. We've got a fantastic team who have hard and very successful experience in the Italian and the European natural gas markets. A number of those key players, such as Giorgio Bertuzzi, have been our ex-ENI executives who've been incredibly successful in the work that they've done at ENI. Others are just members of the team that have been very successful in successfully drilling and putting a number of these assets that we have in the portfolio into production. It's probably worth just a tiny bit of history. These three natural gas production assets, Solaro, which is in production, Bezeca, which will start almost immediately after the IPO, and Sant'Alberto, which will start up in the back end of 2017, were successfully drilled and developed by Po Valley Energy in Australia. But what became very clear to me and the rest of the board was that London and the European exchanges are a much more sensible and higher liquidity market to list these kind of interests. On the ASX, there was low liquidity and a relatively low market capitalisation. We're already seeing today that with the right support and the right structuring, we're getting very good support from the UK investors and the European investors for a dedicated European natural gas production company. And I focus on production because that's one of the things that will distinguish us going forward on the AIM market. We're not looking at exploration with all the risks associated with it. We're basically we've got one field in production. We've got two fields to come in the back end of 17, and that's going to set us up very well for gas production and cash flow production. And we have a focus on getting those cash flows back to shareholders.
Obviously, you touched there that it was formerly listed on the Australian Stock Exchange. Is it just a simple case of they don't understand the domestic gas market and what it can obviously mean to a company? Because for yourselves, getting this company at this price with obviously production, near-term production and long-term production, it looks very strong from where any investor would be sitting.
Well, look, it's as an AIM London Stock Exchange listing. I think to actually have of the order of 20 million euros of hard dollar capital actually invested. That's 7.5 kilometre pipeline, 4 completed gas wells, and 2 gas plants that are connected to the Italian national grid is a much more substantial asset than a lot of new listed AIM companies start with. And that gives us the ability to, we're producing gas now. Come the end of March, we will add our second gas field into that production stream, and there'll be a third gas field at the back end of 2017. Not many companies listed on AIM actually get into production and have that kind of growth in production in such a short period of time.
Indeed. So it's a bit of a coup, really, that you've got this fantastic asset there, and it's going to be producing and generating cash flows. In relation, obviously, the reporting through the previous company, it says that it's effectively a high profit margin.
Yeah, look, and look, you and Alex and the team at Share Talk know the oil and gas industry. If you find a natural gas field in, pick a country in Morocco, you can be very successful in the drilling, but then to actually get that gas to the market requires pipelines and a whole lot of infrastructure that along the way reduce the net price you get at the wellhead. In our case, we're talking about gas fields where the gas comes up 2.5 kilometres up the well and then goes 200 to 300 metres directly into the national grid. And we have a fantastic offtake agreement with Shell PLC. We're getting the wholesale price at the wellhead without all the more significant capital expenditure that gas producers in other countries that are more remote from the main market have to deal with. The other great thing about Italian natural gas, certainly where we operate, is it's 99.5% methane. So it's almost pure. So there is very little operating costs that needs to incur to put it into production. We have fully automated unmanned plants, and again, that means our operating costs are very low and our margins are very high.
In relation to the future of the company then, obviously you've got the next year's worth set up, ready to go. What are the longer term aims of the company? Will there be any exploration work?
Well, look, if we just, and the team will do this, if we just focus on the portfolio that we've got at the moment, we'll move from about 1.5 million scuffs a day to 4 million scuffs a day. And we do have a team that is, commercial, technical, and networked, and can add additional production assets to the portfolio. I'd like to think we'll distinguish ourselves as an oil and gas company by having a production cash flow focus and getting that cash flow back to shareholders rather than focusing on exploration. And I think that will be an important reason why people will follow Saffron Energy.
So the key question then, dividends. Hopefully,
I'm a shareholder.
Potentially?
You got to take it step by step. There won't be dividends in 2017, but we have a platform of assets that generate cash flow and profits, and certainly I think the board, being cautious and all those kind of things, wants to get the returns from these gas fields back to shareholders in a disciplined and focused way, and we're not going to put all that cash flow into exploration wells. We're going to focus on production and profits.
I was going to say profits and then production. Right, is there anything further you would like to add there?
No, I think we've covered it all. I mean, a great start today. I mean, obviously there's a whole lot of work for the team to execute against the game plan, but I think we've got a great game plan. I think we're very well positioned to do that.
Well, you seem to have very well positioned assets, production currently, and obviously more news flow to come in the near and long term across the next year.
And we'd love to get the Share Talk team down to the sites.
Oh, that sounds like an excellent proposition. I'm there. Make sure it's summer, nice and warm for me.
Okay.
Michael,
thank you, Steve.
Thank you very much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Okay, thanks. Bye.